All right, so today I want to talk about the stuff that makes you sweat. I want to talk about the stuff that gives you night terrors. Okay. What is your most recent trading nightmare? Hey guys, what's up? My name is Mike Huddy from Clover Trading. I'm here with Kyle Williams. We produce long-form content for the YouTube community, you guys yourselves, to watch weekly. Every Monday we release a video, and today we're going to talk about the scary parts of trading, the pitfalls of trading, the realities of trading, which is not the same as when you kind of walk in. I mean, let me ask you a question, Kyle. When you first started trading, did you ever think you were going to have a $400,000 loss in a day?
No. The beginnings are very naive and like flowers and rainbows and millions of dollars, and the levels and the depths of risk are never accounted for.
Yeah. When we first started trading, I think we always think about, the non-nightmare is I'm going to make $100,000 on the trade. And I remember when I first made my some bigger gains, 16, 20, 25,000, people always used to ask me like, how does it feel to make that much money in a day? And I think the answer is, well, it just feels like another day. But when you take a loss, I think it's different. And when you take a huge loss, I think that there's some feelings there.
Yeah. I forget what study it is, and I'm going to butcher it, but it's like a loss is 2.5 times more emotional than a win. So like if you make a $20,000 gain, that will make you feel equivalent to about a $45,000 loss, like 2.5 times bigger.
So trading can be scary. There's no doubt about it, but I don't want the audience to be scared. So I guess the question is like, are these losses avoidable? At the end of the day, like if you had a career in trading, can you avoid being in this situation where you're staring the worst nightmare in the face and you gotta face it?
Yeah, I mean, following your rules and having stop losses and having broker max stop losses to stop out for you is, I think, the almost sure way to do it. The other dark side, though, that I have, and this will be unpopular, but I think it's true among veterans traders, is that if you want to be a trader who's made $1, $2, $5, $10, $15, $20 million over a 10 plus year career period, like you're inevitably going to cross that mine on the ground. Even from an investment standpoint, like I've seen this trend multiple times where it's like, I think it was in a movie maybe, where you almost don't want to invest with the fund manager or the hedge fund or the trader, right? If you invest in traders, so to speak, that's like a hot hedge fund, unless they've seen everything or have been through everything. And so it's like, it's almost like I value traders who have taken that mother of all losses or mother of all nightmares, because they've seen...
Experience is the mother of all teachers.
Yeah, so they've seen the depths of how deep it can go and have came out of it. So if they can go through that, then you're going to feel much better about the guy who doesn't even know it exists and thinks he's too good to see it or to experience it.
Right. Because I see this all the time where people just kind of come in the market and they're just immediately, you see these dollar gains and dollar losses, and it's just like, how does one even get there? How do we arrive at that point in time? And I think it really does come down to scalability, right? You get what you put in. And if your goals are multi-7 figures, well, the only way to get there, at least in one trade, is to risk, probably multi-6 figures, right? You have to have some kind of risk reward equation there. You talked broker max stops. What are they called?
Yeah, backstop. Max stop from a broker. You could implement it.
But what is that?
That is where you tell your broker pretty much, and every broker should have this. If you have a broker that doesn't do this, I would be sketched.
Okay.
Where you can tell them, hey, if you ever see my account down a certain amount, you exit the position for me.
Okay.
Period. So like you can set it at any level you want. Obviously they have their own max stop broker stop for you, which is your entire account. Like if you lost 90% of your account in the day, they're probably gonna call you up and be like, hey, yeah, you're done. You're gonna get margin called. But you can set a number prior to that, even lower.
And that's kind of a cool way a strategic way to trade, because I don't know, for me, it's like when I come into the market and I see a ticker that I want to trade, I kind of have a predetermined plan of how much do I want to lose on this ticker. Like at the end of the day, if there's a red number, what do I want that number to look like? And I know that number before I go into the trading day. I'm like, okay, if everything hits the fan, I'll be down this amount of money. And the broker max stop out kind of leads to that, where it's like, maybe it's not per ticker, but it's per day. And it's like, if you never want to be down more than 10K, you should have some type of limit or rule that just like cuts you out.
Stop it. Get some help.
I mean, there's losing because you have to lose in order to make that much money, or there's losing because you're emotional.
Yeah.
And you're on tilt and you're fighting. And those can also really be bad losses. Like I think when we talk about your biggest loss, like, I don't know if it was really fighting, would you say, or just the play didn't go right?
It was, you could argue fighting. It was just insane. And this is where I learned that it was my biggest weakness. If I have too much conviction in something, that kills me. Yeah, I will sit in the conviction, and there's then no other outcome than what I'm convicted about will work. And the problem is that like on FFIE, long term, it was right.
Yeah.
But it doesn't matter 4 months later. It matters in the next 4 hours.
Yeah. And I buy the squeeze.
And I couldn't have been more wrong.
Yeah.
Right.
Well, that's the thing with squeezes. Like, and again, this is what trading is. Like, it can reinforce so many bad habits because these are generally what we trade are horrible companies and they belong in the gutter, but a squeeze is a squeeze and you never really know how high a squeeze is going to go, but you know that the company is fundamentally flawed. Right. So it puts you in catch 22 at times where it's like, I want to be short, but like, it's not going down right now, and you still have to time it right? It's still gonna be days later, but so yeah, it's tough. It's tough. There are aspects of trading that are tough. There are scary things within trading, but there's also the good. Let's talk about the feelings you get when you make, I don't know, what was your biggest trade this year?
It was also FFIE, but it was after I took my loss. So like you said, after the timing is correct, after a few days, that's when I then reattacked and said, okay, my first half of the trade was terrible. Let's regroup and actually trade it how I should have from the beginning. And I made like 170 grand. So again, didn't make up for the losses, but I felt better about it because like that was the safe and correct way to make a lot of money.
Okay, and I want to talk about this because again, I think this is probably what makes trading so difficult. I mean, you took $400,000 loss on the way up, and then you have to wake up the next day and pretty much make $170,000. Maybe not the next day, maybe it's 2 or 3 days later, whatever it is. Maybe it's like you're going to play it for a long time. I mean, I kind of know what you did there. Yeah. But I think that's the most difficult part about trading is taking that big loss and then coming back the next day, not feeling like you just got kicked in the you-know-what. Like you got to perform, you got to execute, the trade's still there, the trade's still live, and you're only as good as your next trade. So talk about maybe about how you approach that. Like you just took a huge loss. There's still an A+ setup in front of you. Maybe it's not the same ticker. Maybe it's a different ticker. It could be a different scenario. But how do you approach the market when you're kind of coming off that big loss?
That makes me think of ties back in what we just mentioned about like the darkest or the lowest you can go as a trader. And in terms of the loss, it can be very subjective. And what I mean by that is one trader's darkest depths to like go through that, like not learning curve, but truly maybe become that veteran who's seen the worst it can get. Might not be the worst it can get, but he got a glimpse of it, just enough to give him the lesson, right? And I think that's what it was for FFIE for me, where to your point of like, how was I able even to come back and still trade after that?
Right.
It's because when you reflect on it, emotionally sucks, but logically, okay, I lost 400 grand. I gave back 2 or 3 months worth of work, right? Which is still too much to give back,
right?
But it's much different than some other trader whose their darkest depths was almost going bankrupt,
right?
Not harder to come back from. Yeah, or like, we're talking about maybe small retail traders. What about the hedge fund who lost billions, but he's worth $1 billion? It still hurt for him. He still learned the right lesson, but the levels are so vast in particular in spite.
The consequences to the loss are different.
Yeah, totally. And so that would be maybe the main reason for me where I was still able to deal with what I dealt with and then recoup and still trade well because yes, that was my worst loss ever. Yes, I put everything in my power not to have that happen again. But it wasn't like I had to now sell everything and move into a Merritt's house.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like, it's like I was okay. My bills are still getting paid. I still have, multiple 6 figures, having $1 million in trading capital to still use. Like, it's not the end of the world. It really sucks, but I can move forward.
And this is the unfortunate part of trading, right? Like the big losses, I think what I know from myself and maybe from our 9 years of trading is that the big losses are unavoidable, but it's not how hard you fall, it's how fast you recover, right? And I've seen you do this before. I mean, again, like we have a big loss probably once every 6 months, something like that. They range in sizes, but there's usually an outsized loss once every 6 months. Yeah. I remember last time we talked about this was TOP. And I think what had happened is maybe you lost $70,000 to $100,000. And then the next day you were on a plane flying back from Palm Springs to San Diego and you made $100K on the plane trading that same ticker again.
Made it back, yeah.
It's exactly what you do with FFIE. So you have this this knack. I don't think a lot of traders have it. And I think that's what they kind of need is like a will.
Yeah.
That you want more, that you need to prove it to yourself or that you need to come back and nail the trade.
Yeah. That's my gift and my curse, which is like, I have to tame it when it's the wrong time, which is like taking too many losses in a row, and then know when to use it when it's the right time, which is like, I can always give it another go. Like emotionally, like I can and this is why I had to place the rule for me of like, I can't take more than 3 to 5 losses on a ticker before I cut it quits. Cause like, if I didn't have the rule, I have the enough emotional capacity to take a loss after loss after loss after loss. Before you know it, I look back on the ticker, I've taken 20 like in and outs
right
on a ticker. And it's like, yes, I'll be exhausted emotionally, but it's like, I have the battery of a marathon runner where it's like, I will just run another mile. If it makes me think, or if I've convinced myself that this extra mile, this extra trade I'm going to take will make back all the losses, which is not the hell. That's why I had to make those rules. Cause like, that's not how it should go. So all the best trades usually work really quickly. You don't need to get something, multiple tries.
So it's an endurance thing.
Yeah.
Or the Energizer Bunny.
Yes.
All right. Well, Again, I think this is the reality of trading. I think people need to hear this stuff because, you know, when you kind of start your career, you'd never really know what this is going to look like 4 or 5 years later. And it's completely different than what your dreams are. And sometimes your dreams become nightmares. But I think having the right perspective of what the market is and coming into the market like that allows you to just be more aware of what can go wrong. Because like, wow, Murph's Law, like what can happen will happen.
Yeah.
Right. So just being aware and just being responsible, right, is good.
Totally. But anyways, guys, that is the reality of trading, of the ups and downs, more so the downs. Feel free, if you're feeling vulnerable enough, share in the comment section some of the biggest, darkest depths that you've gone through and how you've improved from that. So anyways, thanks so much. Make sure to like and subscribe, and we'll see you guys next time. Bye.